Stugotz here for 1-800-Flowers. Nothing makes a summer birthday more magical than a vibrant bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com. Just picture the look on your birthday girl's face when she sees her gorgeous bouquet being delivered. Whether she's at home, work, or school, no one can deliver a smile like 1-800-Flowers. And right now, when you order a dozen multicolored roses for just $29.99, 1-800-Flowers will give you another dozen plus a vase absolutely free. That's a 50% savings, 50% off the original price. These gorgeous roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness and your friend or loved one's amazement. They make a great surprise for birthdays or even just because. A dozen multicolored roses for just $29.99 plus another dozen and a vase for free is an amazing offer, but it expires Friday. Every bouquet is backed by 1-800-Flowers' 100% smile guarantee. When it comes to planning the perfect birthday surprise, I don't settle for anything less than 1-800-Flowers.com. They are the best. To order a dozen multicolored roses plus an extra bouquet and a vase for just $29.99, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Don Le Batard.
You want to make something smart really dumb? I give you Stugotz.
Stugotz.
You love sandwiches, huh?
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Jon Stewart going to join us in about 15 minutes. Not a lot of sports going on, and if you're new to this particular gathering, we do not feel beholden to stick to sports on days where we have to manufacture the sports stuff. We do have some stuff going on in basketball that's worth mentioning because basketball is very good at the transaction. Basketball has gotten, since LeBron's decision on television, basketball has gotten really good at filling up the summer months with content. And now Adrian Wojnarowski, presently of Yahoo Sports, is reporting that Paul George has gone to the Pacers and told them that he is out at the end of this year and that his preference, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, is to be with the Lakers, and so now we will see who tries to get into that game. Paul George is a rental. Cleveland, Boston. What Boston is doing, it would appear Boston is trying to see if it could put together a package to get Anthony Davis. It's the only explanation I've got for what Boston is doing. Otherwise, I have a hard time explaining it. They're waiting for the LeBron window to close, and maybe they can figure out a way to put a package together for Anthony Davis.
Or use all the picks and wait for LeBron's window to close, right? And wait for the Warriors to get a little bit older, right? 4 or 5 years from now.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it that way. The Sixers are certainly priming themselves to try and be in that position once the window is closed on Golden State. But Boston, what was revealed for all of their overachieving last year is that they're not anywhere close, that they can add a superstar and still not be close.
Absolutely, yes. Paul George, I'm not certain, makes a difference in the East, with LeBron James still in the East.
But one of the things that makes everything that's happening so interesting is one of the first calls that Indiana made was to Cleveland. Because Cleveland, while it's got a bunch of old stuff on its roster, Cleveland has to play for now. Cleveland has to construct its roster this year as if it's scared LeBron might leave. Has to.
Yep. Do anything you can. Even if that means trading Kevin Love to get Paul George.
Well, that's Stugotz's opinion. I don't think it's going to take that much to get Paul George for a year. But if you're Cleveland, you have to. It's not merely, hey, we know it doesn't make sense to trade Kevin Love for a year of Paul George. But the only way that it makes sense is if we need to prove to LeBron that this season is all about getting LeBron back to where it is Golden State is, because he's not close there either. I still maintain, Stugotz, that what Cleveland has to do is add Paul George without losing one of its three guys.
All right, tell me how, because it seems impossible.
I know.
I look at the rest of that roster after those three.
I know, but what's happened here with this sport is it's not enough anymore to trade for J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert. It's not enough anymore to trade for Kyle Korver. You've got to go get four guys that can challenge those four guys. and your fifth guy needs to be as good as Andre Iguodala. Like, that's where the order is now. You got to have 4 guys.
Right. I understand that, Dan, but the Cavs aren't one of those teams that could say, here's our roster, pick whatever you want, draft picks, young players. They don't have that. They have the 3, and that's basically it. Other teams could say, like the Lakers, hey, here's our roster, anyone but Brandon Ingram. Go ahead. Tell us what you want. We'll do it right now.
Yeah, but that's an interesting question, because what we were talking about here during the local hour is the idea of, if you're Magic Johnson, do you do what the Nuggets did with Carmelo Anthony, what the Knicks did with Carmelo Anthony, where the Knicks got impatient. They could have just waited to get Carmelo Anthony for free, but they did not. Are you still chewing on that fingernail?
Yeah,
you're still chewing on that fingernail from last week? You're still chewing on it?
You know what? I clip my, I usually clip the toenails. I don't clip the fingernails.
You already mentioned this. Why didn't you handle it this weekend instead of sticking that sausage finger? I'm going to watch you all show again, sticking that finger into your face when we're on television?
Well, it was a busy weekend. U.S. Open was on, and it was Father's Day weekend. I had a show Sunday morning. I didn't have time to address the nail on my pinky. So now I'm addressing it. While you're talking, I mean, I hope it's not distracting you. If it is, I apologize.
You spent all of Friday with your left pinky finger in your mouth on television, and it's disgusting and it's distracting because it looks like you're sucking on your left pinky finger. It looks like you're Austin Powers. Like that you're Dr. Evil from Austin Powers.
Right. Listen, man, it's a stressful week for me, man. I'm nervous, and when I'm nervous, I bite my nails. I don't know what to tell you. I'm getting my head shaved tomorrow. I'm going to look exactly like Paul Feinbaum tomorrow, and then I'm getting strapped up to a lie detector on Wednesday. I mean, what have I done with my life?
So that's tomorrow. Dollar Shave Club will be coming in here, and they will shave Stugotz's head because he lost his Cleveland Cavs bet from the finals, and he will be wearing a full suit. Do you have the suit picked out already?
Oh, I'm picking out the suit? Is that the deal?
Yeah, I'm not buying you a suit, dude. You got a suit.
All right, I'll bring a suit in tomorrow. By the way,
Stugotz going to foul this up.
No, I'll have a suit.
Yes.
I mean, come on, man. This is one of my best, okay? I mean, I'll be fine tomorrow. I'm not sweating this at all. I'm not sweating it at all. Hold on, let me bite my nails. But here's the thing, man. Like, I'm not nervous about the lie detector. I am nervous a little bit about tomorrow because, I mean, that's a look I got to wear for 4 hours, and my kids are going to be mortified. Like, they're old enough now. They're on all the social media, and they are begging me not to do it. They asked me yesterday for Mike Ryan's number. I told them they couldn't have it. They wanted to beg Mike to let me out of this, and it's not happening. So I'm a little bit nervous about that. I'm not nervous about it after the show because I'm going to shave it all off and I look bald, but looking like Feinbaum for 4 hours, I mean, it's a difficult task, man, and this stuff lives forever.
Are we going to get Stugotz any prosthetic ears?
What?
To make the ears a little bit larger.
It's difficult because he sort of needs to hear the radio show. But we do have earpieces, so his horseshoe won't be blocked by a set of headphones.
All right, so that's tomorrow. Tomorrow, Stugotz, at about this time, Stugotz is going to shave his head, and he's going to do the entire show looking like Paul Feinbaum, wearing a suit, wearing glasses, and having the cul-de-sac of a haircut. Jon Stewart's going to join us in about 8 minutes. You know, one of the things that I always find interesting, Stugotz, is Phil Jackson. Now people are making fun of him, but Phil Jackson's greatest gift is Phil Jackson had an eye for where it is to take his talents. He had a very good eye for landing spots. Billy Donovan thought he had that eye.
Right.
Billy Donovan took what was a really good job, and if he'd done anything with it in that year, maybe everything is different now.
Well, I mean, he was up 3-1 against the Warriors.
I know, but if he had won, maybe I think most people would concede that if Durant had won 2 years ago, we might be talking about Billy Donovan differently, that he did the Phil Jackson thing where he got them over the top. But the thing that made me think about it is this, and it's funny to look at it retrospect, and I wonder how many people are doing this. I know one who's doing it, and he's driving a car registered to Matt Barnes. When two people are on the same path, Steve Kerr and Derek Fisher were on exactly the same path. They signed identical contracts because the other one got that contract. They were both unproven guys who were smart on the court but didn't have any coaching experience. And Derek Fisher tethered himself to Phil Jackson after Steve Kerr said, I'm not tethering myself to Phil Jackson.
Yes.
I'm going to go to Golden State. And look at everything that's happened since then. Derek Fisher won't work as a coach again. Steve Kerr will work wherever he wants to for the remainder of his life.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It is. Smart and, as you said, good vision by Steve Kerr, man.
Now, I'm guessing at the time people wouldn't have said there's any appreciable difference between Steve Kerr and Derek Fisher as a coach. I'm guessing at the time people would have said, well, they're both kind of unproven. But Derek Fisher's life now looks like it's in a bit of a spiral because he had the bad situation with the players union where he went out with some mismanagement and Billy Hunter got ousted and it was a whole disaster. He tried to resurrect himself with the Knicks. That was an epic failure. Now there's a DUI charge. Matt Barnes is chasing him all over the earth, wanting to fight him.
Well, that's the thing. Matt Barnes is watching his every move.
That's what's happened there? Okay, good explanation. Go back to chewing on your finger. Good contribution.
ESPN.
How is your chewing on your finger your second worst contribution to this segment?
I mean, listen, life is uncomfortable if Matt Barnes is watching your every move. It is. You feel like your life is spiraling out of control if Matt Barnes is watching your every single move.
Jon Stewart joins us next.
Hey, buddy, the wait is over.
We've got Joe Harper in here. He's a polygraph specialist.
He's very intimidating. He's a nice man, but physically he's very intimidating, and he has a bullet in his neck.
The man, the myth, the legend, Joe Harper makes his return June 21st for the second installment of Stu Lies.
Are your apologies to Dan sincere after you make fun of his fat face?
Yes.
That'll be a no.
Oh, man.
He said Stugotz is the worst liar since O.J. Simpson.
If the Heat and the Knicks played in the Eastern Conference Finals, would you root for the Heat?
Or nerd.
Yes.
Liar.
Let's go Knicks.
Stugotz, Joe Harper, collision course.
Were you really the big man on campus in college as you have claimed?
Yes.
Oh, I think that's the truth.
No, it's not.
Oh! June 21st. You won't want to miss this, buddy. Dan Le Batard.
Called common sense reporting, Dan. Connect the dots.
Stugotz.
I would not describe your sense as common.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
I've been a big fan of this guy's for a long time, and he's involved with some big causes after The Daily Show. Since The Daily Show, he has gotten involved with some things that are helping this country, helping the betterment of this country, helping the wounded soldiers who are now participating in the Warrior Games. We'll talk to him about that in a second.
Can you imagine his ratings were great to begin with, but his ratings with Trump as president, had he stayed in the game, like, can you imagine that with Jon Stewart?
Yeah, we are trying to get him hooked up now. He is in Bristol, and he's with Navy Petty Officer First Class R.J. Ertulo.
Yeah, we're trying to get the sound all cleared up. They're sitting down. We're not patched through just yet.
Okay, so we will have Jon Stewart on in just a moment. Before we get to that, though, we could discuss some of the things that happened in basketball transaction world this weekend, where you've got the Celtics trading out of the number one pick for the third overall pick. The Sixers are, if they stay healthy, they seem to be something exciting and formidable. They can be something exciting and formidable if they remain healthy.
Right, well, that's the key. Embiid staying healthy. We have no idea if Ben Simmons is any good because we haven't seen him play yet at the NBA level, and we have no idea if Markelle Fultz is any good. But you're right. They have positioned themselves. They have an opportunity to be very, very good for a very long time.
Is it fair to say that the Hinkie stuff ended up working?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because they've done nothing but be epically bad, and we don't know if this team is actually good. I think it might work.
Right.
I think it's hard to say it did work from right here, isn't it?
Well, no, but they have a chance. And it seems like so many other organizations and teams don't have a chance. They have a chance to be very, very good. Like, Dan, I think his philosophy was be really, really, really bad. Not just bad for a year, bad for a couple of years, and build up all those assets, which I guess they've done. I mean, Jahlil Okafor is still there. I mean, they have a lot of guys there.
Yeah, but Okafor's not any good.
Yeah, but he's coming off your bench. Or he's your fifth best player.
He's
you
not,
good?
He's not any good.
That player's no good.
All right.
He doesn't play any defense. He's not any good. Are we hooked up to Jon Stewart or
again?
not yet?
Still trying to patch through. I mean, it's kind of frustrating because I can hear them. The camera's all set up, but our audio isn't quite synced yet. So I'm really trying here.
Yeah, well, he's been sitting there for about 10 minutes, and he's going to leave here in a little bit, I imagine, because he's just been sitting on our screen, and he doesn't. You know how this works in Bristol? It's actually a funny thing. I think when people go to Bristol, they think of it as some glamorous thing, and Jon Stewart right now is literally in a closet. The place where we broadcast from in Bristol, they shepherd these famous people into. Have you seen the closet itself? Have you seen it? It's like it's a corner door where you'd never suspect. You'd be walking past there in Bristol, and then all of a sudden Jon Stewart would pop out of a closet.
Haven't seen the closet. No. Had it on my list of things to see when I was up at ESPN up in Bristol, and somehow it escaped me. I spent the entire time in the cafeteria.
I'm not too hopeful at this point. The writing's on the wall that this one's fairly close to being a disaster.
Well, does he have a place to be at like 10:30? Like, should we push it back to the next segment?
Sure. I'm gonna try my hardest because this is a little absurd.
Should we go to break? Like this right now, I very rarely get angry while we're doing the show, but I saw technicians in there for 45 minutes whose only job, as far as I could tell, was to get this sound working. And now this man has been sitting there for a great period of time in a closet somewhere.
I don't understand how it happens because we tested this before, and I was chatting with people, and then it's gone. Like, they were there, we were good, the connection was solid, and now they can't hear me at all.
All right, I'm going to go to break, and hopefully we'll have Jon Stewart when we get back. Let's go to break.
Don Batard.
Creepy as F.
Stugotz.
I had a cat, Schmitty. He died.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
John and his friend, Navy Petty Officer First Class R.J. Aratula, is on with us now. They are with us on behalf of the Department of Defense Warrior Games. If you want more information, visit D-O-D as in Dan, warriorgames.com. John, thank you so much for being on with us, RJ, as well. Tell us a little bit about who's with you there, John, and why he's with you.
This is, well, RJ, he's competing for the first time in the Warrior Games and competing in archery. What are you competing in? Archery?
Archery, shooting, and track.
And so why is it, John, that this is a cause that's special to you?
I think that early on in the Iraq War, I started meeting with guys down at Walter Reed just to get a sense of, I knew I was going to talk a lot about the war, but I wanted to know what I was talking about. And I became just so impressed with the integrity and resilience and these other qualities that these men and women have. I just got more involved with the USO and some other organizations and ended up hosting Warrior Games last year and trying to work with ESPN to get a little more attention focused on it, because I feel like we've asked an awful lot about of these men and women, and so I feel like they deserve our attention, and this is just a way to draw a little bit more attention to them, some of the things that they've had to go through, the resilience that they've shown in not allowing themselves to be defined by the worst day that they ever had and coming back.
Well, can you tell us, RJ, some of this has to be very painful, so forgive the indiscretion on this. DwarriorGames.com is where you go. But you are competing now in these games, and I'm reading about you here, you've done some suffering. Like, is there something that feels normal about just being able to compete that allows you to have for at least a few moments, the life that you had before war had its ravages on your body?
So, competing in this year's Warrior Game, it's been rough years, and like what Mr. John said, like the resiliency, and I've tried different avenues of trying to recuperate, trying to get better. And I found this games to be helpful, putting my mind to something else, kind of like an outlet, to where I can put in all my attention and work on my trying to get better.
Again, DOD warriorgames.com is where you go. I'm curious, John, Jon Stewart with us, along with R.J. Artulo. I'm curious, you made people laugh for a living. Did you ever question the worth of what you were doing for a living, given what you've been doing after your career, where you're meeting some of these people and they're doing like really serious, important things?
I have questioned what I was doing way before I ever met any of these people as well. I think I've always questioned the worth and seriousness of what I was doing. You can't spend your time, in a karaoke bar turned stand-up comedy night in a suburb outside of Rochester and not question the seriousness of what you're doing.
Does that have anything to do with why you got out?
Got out?
Of The Daily Show.
Oh, no. I just done that for 17 years. I felt like I didn't really have anything else. I thought that for that show to continue to grow and evolve and get better, they needed somebody with more energy. I basically used every permutation of my brain that I could use to break down those stories, and I just didn't think I was serving it as well as maybe I should.
A morsel of regret about doing so in this particular political climate, which is a comedian's paradise?
I'm going to go with no.
Okay. Okay, so no. So because it's a lot of work, too, right? I mean, it's a ton of work.
It's I'm sitting next to a wounded warrior who's going to be ready. Like, yes, Dan, it was hell on earth. You don't understand. Craft services sometimes would not have gluten-free options. Do you understand what it was like there? Sometimes at night, I still feel like I'm there.
See, this is one of the reasons why I try to avoid politics. Like, I try to, I watch ESPN almost every day.
As we're talking about.
Either online or TV, and because with me, with my case, I always get really mad at things that's going on outside that involves politics.
Yeah.
So I need to have an outlet to focus my mind somewhere else besides work.
Understand his outlet was setting up an archery range in his garage. Mm-hmm. This man has an archery range in his garage.
DODwarriorgames.com. Again, DOD, because it's the Department of Defense, DODwarriorgames.com. Jon, can you give us some of the stories that you've encountered? Because I imagine some of these have left you quite heartbroken. I imagine quite a few stories have you being very emotional. So what can you give us in terms of understanding why it is this has sunk its teeth into you this way?
Well, it's so much of it is just I'm always impressed by the resilience of those that have been injured, but also in the stories that they tell, and I'm sure RJ can tell you as well, their first concern, even at that moment of injury or impact, is their teammates, the other guys in the platoon, the other guys in the squad. All the stories are of, so I get blown up, so the first thing I do is I make sure that my three guys are okay, and then I apply my own tourniquet and wait for the corpsman. It's the human capital is so valuable that the kinds of individuals that put themselves in harm's way to do the things that they have to do, it's a very compelling look at just what you can do for love of not just country, but your brothers and sisters that are also in your platoon. It's humbling to be around these guys. And the best part about it is they'll always, you'll go, we went on a trip to Afghanistan to meet some guys and they'll always go, hey man, thank you so much. They'll say that to me and I'll be like, yes, I'm the real hero here. I flew on a plane to get here.
RJ, I'm curious, what are the details that you're willing to share or you're comfortable sharing about your story and how it is that you arrived here?
So, which injury are we talking about? I mean, I have a few. So the first one is PTSD. I know it's not like a physical injury. It's more like a psychological and mental injury. So I was deployed back in 2003 before we invaded Iraq. And during that time, I was new to the Navy. And so all I'm focused is, all right, we gotta get this mission done, and make sure everyone comes back home. So we went there. We blew a lot of things. We killed a lot of people. None of my guys got hurt. So, but throughout the almost 9 months I was there with my unit, we've seen a lot. We've done a lot of missions, and so me making sure like everyone in my unit comes home was great. That was my first objective. So when we got home, I didn't think like I have something going on with me, like mentally or psychologically. So after coming back home, we have our 4-day weekend. So after that 4-day weekend, we have our muster, everyone comes back from wherever they went to. And we're missing one person. So my gunny had the duty, go to his room, make sure, double check, see if he's good to go or not. So come to find out, one of my Marine died. He's dead on the floor with a couple of big alcohol bottle. And so here I am, okay, what did I just miss? I'm like 4 or 5 rooms, to his room, and I could have done something if only someone checked on him. But nobody did. So from then on, every small things, stupid things that sailors, Marines, even civilians do, I'm on them. I'm mad at them, try to correct them as much as I can, without regards to their rank or the positions. If I see you doing something wrong, I'm gonna be yelling at you. And then from there, it just got worse and worse. And throughout the years, and then I got married, and then every time I come back from deployment, my wife she kept telling me you change, you're not the same person anymore. And so here I am, I'm like, no, I'm the same person. I didn't change at all. And then eventually, up to the point to where, all right, you know what? If you're not gonna get seen, we're gonna have divorce. And so after 7 years of dealing with the same thing, thinking I'm normal, I went to see, went to mental health to get checked, and the psychiatrist diagnosed me with PTSD. And then after that, I went to my next deployment again, and during the first time, I didn't get rehab. All the psychiatrist did is just talk to me, and maybe you can do this, you can do that, kind of have an outlet. So I went to my next 2 deployments, and same thing. Every time I come back from deployment, my wife kept telling me, you're getting worse and worse. Until eventually at my last command, I got sent to a rehab. So I was doing rehab for about a year and a half. Now I'm a little bit better, sort of, but there's still, that demon inside me. If I see you doing something wrong, whether you're in the hospital, clinic, outside, I'll be on you.
You can't help it. Yeah.
And it's like a daily struggle.
Again, DODWarriorGames.com if you want more information about it, if you want to contribute to this cause, DODWarriorGames.com. Forgive me for segueing, John, into more trivial matters here, but we do want to ask you a couple of sports questions here. Jon Stewart with us, RJ Urtula with us as well.
John, I'm a long-suffering Met fan, so how's the experience been for you?
The same as it's been for the past 50 years. Any hint of good news will be followed, you're almost assured, within the next 2 weeks by somebody tearing their patella tendon or having 2 arms fall off or trading Nolan Ryan for Jim Fregosi.
Wow, you're going old school there.
I'm sorry. You prefer Joe Foy for Amos Otis?
Nah, I'm numb to all of it at this point, John. I'm fine.
Do you have any good stories for us from living next to Mike Piazza? Didn't you live next to Piazza? How were the parties?
We did live next to a Piazza. He was, at that point, he was older and married, and the parties were very similar to what you would imagine older married couples
Okay, so not
would do. Just everybody would go in and they would put their keys in a big bowl. You understand?
Yes, I do understand. What were
Hall of Fame?
Were you Hall of Fame parties? Were you surprised at all by the idea that at one point you were the most trusted newsman in America, according to various
according
polls?
to the internet? It was an internet poll.
Okay, but still, though, it's a fairly ridiculous ascent.
Yes, but also my name was none of the above to some extent. It was like Diane Sawyer, Dan Rather, Brian Williams, or me, and everybody picked me because that's the protest vote. It could have been the three of them and a tinsel covered dildo would have won. Like, it doesn't, it was an internet thing.
Jon Stewart with us on ESPN. Where would one get a tinsel-covered one of those? Okay, I'm not allowed to say that on Disney radio.
Is that true?
Yeah, well, it's fine.
I think they're a sponsor.
Yes. Last question before I let you go. The one thing that concerns Jon Stewart the most about today's state of journalism is?
How quickly rumor and innuendo become fact and become canon.
Thank you, sir. RJ, thank you for your service. And
come out to Chicago and see us.
Yep.
RJ's going to be competing. He's going to be awesome. It's a fabulous event.
Do DODWarriorGames.com. Thank you for your patience with us, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Don Lebatard.
Yanni Adebabubu.
Stugotz.
Giannis Adebabumbo.
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Okay, I have not looked at the texts strategically. Stugotz, have you looked at the texts?
No, I'm terrified.
Okay, Stugotz just was pounding. During the break, Stugotz was pounding on the desk, laughing, tears in his eyes, and what I could discern was being said through his blubbering snot was, what an unwinnable interview for you.
It's an impossible spot because if you just ask Jon Stewart 10 or 11 questions, then people get mad at you for not talking to the Wounded Warrior right next to him. And if you talk to the Wounded Warrior, people get mad at you for not asking Jon Stewart more questions.
What I felt sweeping over me very strongly is, and I didn't check the texts, but what I felt sweep over me very strongly, and I felt alone with it because Stugotz drifted out of the room like a balloon leaking air.
I told you I was getting out of the way on this one. Yeah.
What I felt happen there, and it was a very lonely feeling, is all you guys who say that we need to bring more attention to our military didn't believe that the last 15 minutes. The last 15, Guillermo, I won't even look at the text because I know you guys wanted a Jon Stewart interview, a conversation with Jon Stewart. But once Jon Stewart neuters the thing by pointing out, hey, my job's not really hard. Let's talk to this warrior here who's fought in a war. Once that happens, I'm bleep out of luck. Now, Mike Ryan told me that Jon Stewart thought that interview was awesome. Unfortunately, I'm not doing a show for Jon Stewart. I'm glad he liked it.
He got what he wanted out of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you were great.
I mean,
as far as hitting the notes that he wanted.
Yeah, but I don't blame you. If you're mad at me and at us, I will not lash out at you. I will not blame you. I get it. You wanted Jon Stewart there, and that's not where you wanted your military, but that's the only reason Jon Stewart was on with us.
For you in particular, because I think I would have asked maybe one or two questions and then just gone the rest of the day with Jon Stewart. But you have such a caring heart and a caring soul. Like you do. It was hard for you. I understand.
It would have been a really bad thing for me to just keep asking Jon Stewart questions and ignoring the wounded soldier next to him. Guillermo, just give me some of the feedback that we're getting here via text and Twitter, because I haven't looked at any of it because I could just feel it happening.
There's actually lots of positive feedback thanking you for bringing attention to this situation that could be serious. Then there's also this #awkward transition made the guy from the Navy stop talking about his injuries to ask Jon Stewart Mets questions. Then there's also lots of people asking why you kept calling it the Duty War Games.
You were rattled. I mean,
the DOD, yeah,
D. Yeah, it's the lowercase O, duty. Yeah, I was doing that as well. The Duty Warrior game.
Hey, we got off easy then.
Oh.
I think,
wait a minute. That's it?
I think a lot of people understand the situation, and even Stugotz did. So
Our audience is going, this is the spot that they've chosen to be understanding.
I mean, then there's people saying the hell's happening. But, I mean, I think that you're getting a little bit of a pass considering the context of what's going on.
Wow, really?
That or just everyone turned it off.
Stewart hated that.
I wouldn't check Twitter for a week. Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million. What color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo!
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.